Let's get on to downward dog. Yeah. Hands on the floor. Have your hands about shoulder width apart. Fingers spread. And again, because your hands are on the floor, lengthen your body by reaching your hips or your pelvis away from your hands. Inhale, reach back. You can position your knees in this position so that they are under your hips, and exhale, reach forward. Inhale, reach back. Notice my head is moving towards my shoulders. Exhale, relax. Head up slightly. Inhale. Relax. And the idea of this exercise, even with your knees on the floor, is to get this feeling of lengthening, but with your hands on the floor. The next phase is to lift your knees but keep them bent. Again, hands about shoulder width apart, feet about hip width apart, knees as well. Lift your knees off of the floor. You push your pelvis away from your hands. Lengthen your body. Pull your head up so your neck is long and your chest open. Slowly relax. Inhale, lengthen. Close the distance or reduce the distance between your ears and shoulders. Meanwhile, lengthen your spine. Exhale, relax. Inhale. Notice my knees stay bent. And exhale. One of the things that is interesting to talk about is in a seated position, it's easy to talk about lifting your ribs away from your pelvis. However, with your hands on the floor, it almost doesn't make sense. You're not moving your pelvis away from your ribs. You're still moving your ribs away from your pelvis. However, your rib cage and pelvis as a unit then moves back away from your hands. The most important thing is to make your body feel long, including your neck. So all of this, make it feel long. Your arms as well, make them feel long. Now the next step is to slowly straighten your knees. When you straighten your knees, I would suggest focus on pushing your thigh bones back. You focus right here, push back. Focus on pushing your shins back. And for this next exercise, as you straighten your knees, as you push your legs back, lift your heels. So again, fingers spread, hands shoulder width apart, feet hip width. Experiment with your feet slightly further forward or slightly further back until you find the distance that feels right for you. Knees bent. Inhale, press your hips back, thighs, shins, lift your heels. Reach your pelvis up to the ceiling. Exhale, relax. Lengthen your spine, push your pelvis back, press your thigh bones, shin bones back, lift your heels, and relax. Inhale, hips up to the sky, and relax. One of the reasons I teach downward dog in these steps is that it actually feels quite nice. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can focus on simple steps. And for the sake of this video, I shouldn't be talking, but I'm trying to keep the movements reasonably quick, particularly if you're watching on the internet. However, when you're practicing these movements by yourself, do as many as you like, perhaps 10, 15 inhales and exhales, and then take a rest, and then move on to the next set. Do whatever feels right for you, given the time that you have. For the final step, press your legs back, push your heels down. Actually, there'll be one more step after that, but first things first. Hands shoulder width, fingers spread, feet hip width. Inhale, push back, press your pelvis, legs, back, heels down, and relax. If your heels do not touch the floor, don't worry. Press your thighs and shins back, push your heels down as far as you can. You can also focus on lifting the fronts of your feet. Exhale, relax. Inhale, push back. And relax. One other thing, notice that when I'm relaxing is just about here. This feeling feels, I wouldn't want to hold this position, but it's a lot easier than going back here. It's also not like this. It's not a half-assed plank pose. So just about here, it feels like my arm bones are bearing the weight of my body. It's reasonably relaxed. Then from here, press back, and then relax. All right. So finally, downward dog. And again, this is a variation of downward dog. If, for whatever reason, you're doing downward dog and you don't want to be moving forward, moving back as you inhale and forward as you exhale, what you can do is carry the feeling of these bigger movements, but make the movements smaller. So I can do like this. Inhale up and relax. Notice I'm keeping my elbows straight. I keep my head back and my chest open. Inhale. All I'm doing is lifting my ribs, also lifting my shoulders, and then relaxing. Inhale and exhale. So you can do the same thing in downward dog. You can keep the shape of the pose, you can keep your elbows and knees straight, your heels on the floor, or if they are off the floor, slightly off. Just focus on lengthening your spine, opening your shoulders, and then relaxing. So from here, inhale, and exhale. So I'm using my shoulders to push my ribcage back. Then I'm slowly relaxing my shoulders. At the same time, I'm moving my ribs away from my pelvis. I'm pulling my head up and then relaxing. Inhale. And exhale. And hopefully what you noticed, well, I'll point out to you anyway, try whether you move your whole body as I was doing before, or just move a little bit. In both cases, try to make the movements slow and smooth so you can focus on feeling your body and actually enjoy the experience of moving your body. One other thing, when you're doing downward dog, if you find this a little bit difficult to have your hands shoulder width, what you can do is start off with your hands slightly wider. Then as you warm up or as you get more used to doing downward dog, move your hands towards shoulder width apart. Another thing that you can do is experiment with moving your hands closer together. You might have to move your fingers together, but experiment with having your hands close together. You can do the same thing with your feet. Have your feet slightly wider than hip width, then move them to hip width, and then move them so that they are touching. That's it. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching.